I know that a lot of folks saw my rant, maybe too strong a word, but thoughts, surely, on LSU secondary like 3 weeks into fall camp. And I went out there and I said, I just don't think these guys can cover that well. And I don't know if that was borne out for the entirety of the 12 weeks. I think they didn't get any stops when they needed to against USC in the fourth quarter. But they weren't just awful defensively in the secondary. But it just didn't look like I'm used to it looking. I've been going out to LSU football practices for 15 years now. And while I say this all the time, like, I don't know that, I think a lot of you that listen, that are such big LSU fans, would love to go to a football practice one day. You would think it was the coolest thing ever, or you think it would be. And maybe for that first hour, you would really, really like it. You'd be up close and personal with the players. You see the coaches coaching those guys. You see them go through the drills, see how big and fast and strong all these college football players are. And maybe that would be cool. But I can promise you after 15 years of doing it, like, you wouldn't just cherish every moment you were out there. I promise. I'm not complaining about that job. It beats the heck out of almost all the other jobs, going to watch them practice and then coming to talk about it. I'm just suggesting from an entertainment value level, it's not the greatest thing that anyone's ever done. But I do have fond memories of going out and watching LSU's DBs work under Ron Cooper and Corey Raymond, and seeing position groups, and I rattled these names off at the end of last week, but like seeing the 2010 and 2011 teams that had Patrick Peterson and Morris Claiborne and Tyrann Mathieu and Brandon Taylor and Eric Reed and Ron Brooks and Thorold Simon, all these guys that played in the NFL, and what that looked like, and the edge and the confidence and the swagger that those guys played with. And I remember going out to watch the 19 team and seeing Christian Fulton and Derek Stingley and Grant Delpit and like guys that played and that are stars in the NFL. And the way that group looked and carried itself. And I've watched LSU at corner and safety the last 3 years, and it just doesn't look like that. And that feels like too high a standard to try to grade on. I've chastised, big picture, chastised a lot of folks for comparing Garrett Nussmeier immediately to Jaden Daniels and Joe Burrow. And I realize I'm kind of doing the same thing in this vein. But you had it for so long, and it's so many different guys. I mean, I didn't even throw out the year where you had Tre'Davious White and Jamal Adams, and like those are pros too. So it wasn't like it was one standout here, one standout there. This is probably a total of 25 guys over 10 or 12 years that just looked the part and you knew. And I just don't know that I'm looking at that. And that has been troubling to me in the last two fall camps. I don't want necessarily to hear all that time about that 3-star that was a late ad that, you're kind of turning some heads. Just tell me where the first-round pick is, man. That's what I'm looking for. Because in Tuscaloosa and Athens, like, they got first-round picks. In Columbus, Ohio, they got first-round picks. And forever, LSU had first-round picks. And I'm looking for that to resurface. And I think all of you are too. And there's no way for me to sit here today and truly forecast that. Because I can't tell you, there would have been no way for me to look at Deuce Chestnut or Jarek Bernard-Converse and pick which one would come in, fail, and go back, and which one would come in, play solid football, and get drafted. Like, I can't do that for you. One of them worked, one of them didn't. And you could basically do the same thing with Zy Alexander and the Richardson kid they brought in from McNeese. Like, both guys are big frames. They played at the FCS. One came in and was outmatched. The other one came in and was your best cover corner when he was healthy. So I'm not here to try to be a complete talent evaluator on the high school or transfer level. But I will tell you this. I trust Corey Raymond to do it. And I believe when he identifies players, there's a really good chance they'll be great. Yeah, it's easier to identify Derek Stingley and Jamal Adams. But I would go back to the guys like Jalen Mills, who is still in the NFL. He wasn't a 5-star all-world Under Armour All-American recruit. And you've had some guys that have come in that haven't been as highly regarded that have become really good players under Corey Raymond, because I believe he can recruit them, I believe he can pick them, and I believe he can develop them. So you start to look at where we are from a cornerback perspective with this team. And returning right now, it looks like, and of course that's always subject to change, but it looks like you've got Ashton Stamps, P.J. Woodland, and Javian Toviano. Toviano was very highly recruited, hasn't really helped for 2 years. Woodland came in and looked like a guy that was going to turn some heads as the defensive player of the year in the state of Mississippi, and didn't play a ton late in the season this year. And Stamps has won a starting job. Now, I would not look at any of them and project them to go in the first round as of what I've seen at LSU. But those are the three guys you got to kind of work off of from your base. Now, DJ Pickett is one of these dudes. He's Stingley. He's Peterson. That's what he is. And you hope that he's Peterson or Stingley and not, Kevin Tolliver, who was the number one corner in the country, who came in and was a nice player here, but had a cup of coffee with the Bears and wasn't the impact guy that some of those 5-star corners have been coming in. But you bring in DJ Pickett and Aiden Anding in this class, and those guys appear to be really talented dude. Pickett, big time. And then you'll get Jakeem Jackson and Mansour Delane. And I have no way I mentioned Deuce Chestnut and Jarek Bernard-Converse. I don't know which one of those applies to these two guys. But again, I trust Corey Raymond. And I was listening to Matt's show after further review yesterday, and he had the host from Locked On Gators on, and he said Jakeem Jackson looks like a dude. He played and held his own as a true freshman at Florida. He was a starter right out of the gate as a sophomore, and then he got hurt. But he looks like a dude. He's got some edge. He's got the size that you're looking for. I think that guy's got potential to be an all-conference player, and that I'll take that for what it's worth. If you tell me that Corey Raymond thought enough of him in high school to bring him into Florida, and now thinks of him enough now to bring him into LSU, I'm sold on that. And then Mansour Delane, hopeful. He started a lot of games, played a lot of football, and accumulated a lot of stats at Virginia Tech. And so you start to look at this group, and if you tell me that the chalk would be that Stamps and Jakeem Jackson are your two corners, but you've got Delane right there waiting in the wings, and then, of course, you've got DJ Pickett, and we feel like freshman corners are generally pretty ready to play when they come with that kind of pedigree. Eli Ricks was ready to play, had a couple pick six as a freshman. Certainly Derek Stingley was ready to play as a freshman. Certainly Patrick Peterson was ready to play as a freshman, and I don't feel like I'm speaking out of school to put DJ Pickett in the category with those guys. It doesn't assure me that he's going to be a freshman All-American and a first-round draft pick in the top 10 in the draft. But that's the type of recruit that you're speaking with him there. And then you've got depth pieces in Woodland and Toviano and Anding. And that's kind of where you are from a cornerback perspective. And to me, it would not be a shock if DJ Pickett and Jakeem Jackson were both top 65 draft picks. Let's just call it that, when their time came. And that's, in the ballpark of what I'm looking for. DJ Pickett might be the third pick in the draft, and that'd be fantastic. But Stamps with another year of seasoning, I thought he played better late in the season than he did early in the season this year. And then what does Woodland grow into? And what does Anding grow into? But that is a total of 7 guys for 3 or 4 corner spots. I'm hopeful that Corey Raymond is flipping that switch. I would have loved to have Cade Phillips, and if they go get another guy in the portal, I'm not going to complain about that for a second, because in this day and age, you got to go out there and cover to win championships. But this feels like it's trending in the right direction. It feels like it's trending towards 5 and 4 high 4-star recruits who come in and play at an all-conference level and move on and are high picks in the NFL and become long-term pros. That's what LSU was built on. Talked to my guy BT about it every single pre- and post-game show, and I'll talk to him about it on this coming pre- and post-game show. But I'm hopeful that LSU is moving very much in the right direction as far as cornerback goes, because I just have not seen the talent level that I'm accustomed to over the last 2-3 seasons at that position. That's got to change, and they've got the right guy at the helm of that position group to change it. So that's my thoughts on DBU kind of returning to form. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.